leaves Varus as your last remaining, I guess, S-tier pick. What have you got to survive this laning phase now? Could go towards something like the Ezreal, that's pretty okay. Could even go towards something a bit more aggressive, look towards something like a Nautilus lane, something a bit more aggressive like a Draven, whatever you'd like to put in there. But still, Hery goes towards the front line instead of the K'Sante.
Alright, AL picking in lane order so far. Let's see if they can keep that up throughout the rest of this draft. The Varus locked in here. Plenty of picks you could go alongside it, but like you say, the Nautilus has been good. I will say, Crisp Nautilus, is that what you want to go for? Maybe a range support? The curse of Crisp on melee supports has truly been
true. Yeah, that happened again.
Disastrous across the course of the year. And I don't know if that's something that we realistically want to lean into off the side of Weibo. It's going to be ZDZ going for the Udyr. He got MVP in game #1 on that pick, so I totally understand going for that as a pick. And there we go.
Renata, no Nautilus.
Goes
yes,
back to
we
range.
finally have this. I genuinely forgot about that stat again because I saw the good moves in Crispin last game. I thought, yes, finally breaking the curse. It's just not to be. This team, Weibo, needs to have these enchanters to buff up Light to be that hyper late game carry and also allow them to have that laning phase dominance. Varus, Renata, very powerful in its own way. Very, very good if you go towards the on-hit of that Varus. A lot of AD carries banned. We were wondering what Hope was going to go towards. This is very different. We don't see a lot of bot lane Ziggs right now, and it's likely to be that for Hope.
Bot lane Ziggs for Hope. What a weird timeline we're in. I will say, that sucks for Crisp. If you have to lane against Ziggs as Renata, like Renata famously struggling into these ranged compositions, I feel like AL have an angle here to just go full maximum range. If they could go for like a Hui mid, for example, they could be in a really, really good spot to just play at arm's length and really remove the impact that a Renata can have.
So earlier in the day, we saw only the second game of a Jace played in the LPL, and now we're seeing the second game of a Ziggs being played in the LPL. The first game of it was played by Starry, who is, of course, on OMG as the AD carry, switching places with Abel, or at least started the season with it. So we're assuming that this is going in towards that bot lane. I mean, there is the chance that it goes towards mid lane as well, but it just fits the identity of something that's been good versus Varus, and it has been good versus Varus in the past. You need a hard CC support like the, well, obviously the Rakan and the Nautilus would be your primary ones, to make sure that your ultimate is basically a targeted skill shot. The Maokai ult can do just the same though. Does mean that you are double AP in the bot side, which means that potentially you can go towards a little bit of magic resist for anyone looking to fight around that bot lane laning duo, but still, that's the identity that you're looking towards. Pin someone down, the Ziggs no longer needs to hit skill shots, they're just rooted in place.
See if they can find those roots. So Xiaohu goes for the Orianna. We are going to go for carry combo once again, Viego Graves. These have been the two carry jungles that everyone keeps going towards. I like the Nocturne ban as well from AL, understanding that Orianna would be available. It's a combo that we saw a lot earlier on in the split. While it's not been seen as much with the carries being so prevalent in the matchup today, you can certainly see the angle for it. Looks like Shanks may go for the Tristana towards that mid lane, so still having a lot of AD threat on this team as well.
Yeah, you kind of need some consistent damage from somewhere. The Ziggs very good at the start of a fight for picking up the first target. Not necessarily great at being good DPS or consistent DPS, particularly if you don't have all of the follow-up CC in the world. So, with this put into place, we now have potentially Light being a very long-range Varus. We'll see if it's poke for poke. I think you kind of have to go poke Varus to survive against the double AD carries and the Maokai. I think the poke can very much help you in regards to that. Luckily, it's going to be the Maokai not farming as it would be with the Senna, so it's not going to be the super tanky Maokai variant. It means that you're not against double frontline. But the thing is, Ziggs is kind of uncontested in terms of true range. If AL choose to start a fight, Ziggs will be able to impact the fight from a much longer range than someone like the Orianna or the Varus can.
One thing I'm a little scared of as well for the side of Weibo is you're up against the double demolition Yordles here with the Tristana and the Ziggs. If you do go for things like a bot lane dive using the Xin Zhao, Shanks roaming down as well, if you can get a kill or even just zone them away, you can take so many places so incredibly quickly. On the side of anyone's legend, I would love to see them being proactive with this kind of composition and perhaps an early look towards getting grubs as well, because the grub value can be off the charts with this sort of comp.
That is a very good point, actually. It means that if you ever get a look at a tower, that thing absolutely evaporates. I believe this is also the first Ziggs game in Prope's career. Been playing since 2018. He's had a number of years to try it when it's been in and out of meta, and this is the first time he's picked it up. This kind of composition was very LNG of last year. The LPL is no stranger to playing this, but it has been a little while since it's reared its head. We talked about how muscle memory can really impact how you play against these champions you haven't seen in a hot minute. Weibo need to be on their A game.
Really do. Here we go. Game 3 between Weibo and anyone's legend. I fear the AL fans may be outnumbered in this one. I can't say I'm that surprised, though. Not exactly a team that's known for its massive fan base. But still, a team that is currently 1-1 with Weibo and actually above them in the standings right now as well. And remember that this is a game of fighting for redemption for AL. They lost to EVG. They lost the unlosable in that series. The only team in the LPL to lose to that EDG squad. So now, a win against Weibo would perhaps restore a bit of confidence in this team. Much needed as well.
Yeah, and particularly since they're on very similar scorelines right now, there's a chance that they end up being quite close to each other at the end of the split. Having that head-to-head can sometimes help. Of course, you're definitely not going to turn that down. And also taking a series off what could be a direct rival for some of these playoffs berths and the seeding for it can actually end up being quite important. You know how much that can change things. Having game selecting in some series can be very, very important. But still, you need to see anyone's legend really try and capitalize on this game too. And Weibo, they need to overcome this whole best-of-3 curse thing. Game 1s have gone well for them. 7 out of 8 game 1s they have won this year so far. They need to finish the series. Croco not going to get himself onto this red buff in time, I don't think.
Oh,
it resets. Okay, does he see
it?
Away. Oh, he just sees it there. He just sees it.
He must have seen it. At this point, XiaoHao moving into the top side. Both junglers smite available. XiaoHao playing an interesting game of League of Legends to start us off here. Can he get the smite on down? The Krugs may just reset as well. Most of the gold going to XiaoHao there as he then starts this Krug up and should be able to smite that, or at least just DPS it down as Croco's going for his red buff now. This is a weird old start to the jungle matchup with Croco. He's abandoning ship.
Yeah, Croco just says, okay, look, I don't want to play against the Udyr who gets perma-push and topside. I think this is intelligent. He still has his smite. Don't contest on the side of the map where the Udyr is going to be able to come and impact things first. Shanks could roam as well, but it's much more valuable for the Tristana to keep this Tristana pinned back in lane. Croco instead chooses not to fight. Instead, what he can do is still take away some camps from XiaoHao. So even though he loses CS, things are going to be a bit different. But ZDZ has sniffed this out already and pops Ghost to go find him.
Croco spotted there by ZDZ. XiaoHao moving over as well. In the meantime, Shanks has to put pressure onto Xiaohu to try and get his jungler out to safety. It's not going to be an execute. It's going to be first blood for XiaoHao. It's an absolute disaster for Croco.
Oh, the Croco skin boots now being worn by XiaoHao, who takes him down for first blood. Eventually ends up getting something good out of that early invade, even though the red buff ends up resetting and you can't get full value out of that. That is a real stinging blow to anyone's legend and their hopes of trying to close out this series as well. The early game lead, giving a kill over to a Vega, the Xiaohu misusing some of his early pressure. That is now very awkward for them.
It really, really is. And well played by ZDZ and XiaoHao as well to punish this, right? Great invade, starting off, proxying the wave to make sure that XiaoHao can go for that invade. And then essentially the one answer that is available to Croco is to go for the counter invade. But immediately both players make a beeline towards him and take the kill.
And it's also awkward too, because you can't even invade towards bot side because it's a Varus Renata. They're going to get that early lane phase. They've got the push here. So if you pushed in towards bot side jungle, well, bot lane's going to come respond to you. Tries to take the only available option left. He ends up losing out for it. XiaoHao ahead of the game, very far ahead in CS. He takes himself bot scuttle. He can recall, potentially go towards a contest on top scuttle as well. And the reason you can do this is because the Udyr can leave lane whenever. Did it already. Potentially he can do this again. Croco stopping off for his Raptors. I think he can't even go towards this topside scuttle. I really don't think he can fight on topside.
No, it's really tough for him. He's going to be able to go for his Krugs at very least. at least they will be up. But remember,
The Krugs,
he's
they will never betray him.
He's going to have to reset after that, pretty much, I think, because his bot side's not even going to be spawning yet. As here we go, Shanks putting more pressure down onto Xiaohu once again. Good trade from him. Xiaohu trying to get a bit of damage back, but Orianna early trading, not going to be anywhere close to what Tristana's bringing to that matchup.
Shanks having some really good pressure in the last couple of games. Feels like he's done a good job on this Tristana, despite the shenanigans of jungle, to be able to put himself into a decent position. With him trading heavily in mid lane, it actually means that XiaoHao backs off from this top scuttle, and because Shanks has won early lane hard, Croco gets a lifeline back into the game, and that will be a big sigh of relief for anyone's legend, as they can also go towards the grubs at that point. A lot of that comes from the solo lanes coming to play, and of course Kael roaming up as well.
One thing that's worth mentioning as well in all of this is that ZDZ sacrificed a lot to go for this roam onto XiaoHao that happened early on. Yes, we saw the kill coming through from XiaoHao early to punish Croco, but ultimately ZDZ didn't even get an assist. He's actually fallen behind in the top lane because Hery was able to just be farming the entire time and hasn't been able to have the same presence in this matchup that you would expect. XiaoHao starting the grub off here as a shockwave flashed away from by Croco. Grub taken his 2-for-1 on those. Is now absolute carnage in the pit. XiaoHao knocked up. Shanks will grab that kill with the bailout, saving him for a second. Still goes down in the end. ZDZ over the wall, should fall too. It's 2 for AL, and somehow after a fantastic start, Weibo still fall behind.
They fall behind around a Krugs fight, which they had full information on. They saw the roams down towards that Krug play, not the Krug play, the grub play. It's been a long day, folks, but the grub play, it feels like they had all the information they needed to, and they still end up throwing it around that. They didn't get the reset. They didn't manage to play around the bailout well enough, and we now have ourselves AL bailing themselves out from a very difficult first clear from Croco. Croco and Kael was spotted coming down to this. They were spotted on a ward in the tri-brush, so Weibo had full information. Shanks comes back into the play, and this Tristana has been the tail of the early game from anyone's legend, really. I think Shanks has done a great job to give a platform for his team to fight back from. He gets the resets, they get 2 kills off of this too, and they really punish Weibo for pushing things too far in this early game after what was a great start.
Nice ult from Hery as well to get the bonus kill onto ZDZ. No way out of that one. Obviously, you don't run flash on the Udyr running that ghost, so nice little bonus pick on the back of the play. More grubs for AL than what Weibo got. More kills for AL than what Weibo got. Drake on the map here. XiaoHao moving into the area. That is a sneaky little control ward in the corner, though. XiaoHao, I'm not even sure if he spotted that, to be honest. It's going to give full information on the Dragon on how fast Weibo are doing it, but I don't think any contest is going to come through.
No, not this time. You're probably waiting for level 6 to come through from Croco. Realistically, Kael as well. XiaoHao already with level 6 means that the reset potential is now very risky, and you don't want to give those kind of skirmishes over to Weibo after you've just bailed yourself out of a difficult early game. Anyone's Legend have themselves the gold lead. That's been hard won. It was a very difficult first clear. Now with Croco able to stabilize himself, they can wait until that level 6 mark, which just has been hit from Croco and from that Smarkite, and that's where the game really starts to change, because then the Ziggs ult starts coming into play too. We haven't yet to see.
Xiaohu trying to weather the storm of this mid lane matchup, the Buster Shot actually used by Shanks just for pressure. And that's scary for Xiaohu, because now 300 HP, you do have to be cautious. The full combo about to come back off a cooldown for Shanks. If Xiaohu sticks around and pushes too far forwards in that mid lane matchup, he will end up going down. Kael only level 4 at this point, so he needs to be cautious if he wants to get involved in a play. XiaoHao moving into mid lane as well. Xiaohu misses the cannon. It's a nightmare.
Disaster. Just misplaces his Q, can't quite get that one. Ult missing in the bot side from Light. Hope doesn't run the cleanse, of course, running the teleport as you often do on Mage's bot lane. He's doing fine. You kind of expect Mages to go down a bit of CS. He's trying to clear out this wave, and he will be able to collect most of this wave. At least he'll be able to stop plates going over to the side of Light's Varus.
I mean, he got basically the whole wave with Kael using a stack as well. Able to clear it all out, using the ultimate to deal with the backline minions, and the rest of his abilities to deal with the melee. So nicely played there by AL to deny the potential dive that was sort of being, the idea was being toyed with by Weibo. One Drake for them, but a slight gold lead for the side of AL. This is very reminiscent of Game 2 here, where we have a very quiet early start to the game. Bit of action around those grubs, but aside from that, generally speaking, fairly neutral so far. But it was the mid game where things started to fall apart for Weibo. In game number 2 of the series, that was where the picks started going in, and already you can see Shanks has been feeling it. He's been ready to start these fights, and so has Croco. We'll see if AL can find those same kind of advantages that they got in the previous game.
One thing which might actually end up becoming quite important, Xiaohu hasn't gone towards a Seraph, so he hasn't picked up the tier just yet. He's getting jumps on, and it's going to be a real danger if he does get jumps on in earnest late game and the Ziggs ult comes through. I wonder if that extra safety would really value in this game, but then again, his itemization in this this series has left a little bit left to be desired.
Yeah, the
Shirelli's
Nico.
Yeah.
We'll see if it catches on.
No.
I fear it will
no,
not.
we will not. I will close my eyes. I will not say that.
XiaoHao
Wake me up when there's a prototype.
XiaoHao starting the grubs here. Does have more teammates in nearby for now, but Hery is starting to lead on over. However, no real contest coming out from AL. They decide this is not the play for them. Support's really low on levels at this point. Nice buffer from Shanks, gets him out of safety. Gets out to safety, sorry. Level 5 on Kael, level 5 on Crisp. They're getting close to that 6 mark, and there we go. Crisp just hitting that level 6 now. Just wanted to point out, just because the mid lane is currently level 9. You get caught out of position as a level 5 support against a level 9 mid laner, you're just dead.
Yep, it is very much lights out after that point, so it's a very different kind of case. I mean, it's not necessarily a different case. I think if you were an Alistair at level 6, it's a little bit different. Someone like a Nautilus can sometimes turn a fight around, but most of the day we've been talking about how melee supports have affected the LPL, changed the way they can ward, changed the way they can roam. When you go to stuff like the Renata, it does change quite significantly. You can get jumped on. You're quite tanky in early lane with Guardian and the loyalty program, but once you get beyond that, yeah, solo lane's going to play and you're not very happy. This is what kind of happens.
Crisp, nice hostile takeover. Shanks baited in this time, and Crisp shows us how it's done. XiaoHao looking for more. Great ult from Croco to deny it. Kael forced to flash. As they're not stopping anytime soon. XiaoHao flashes after the play and looks for another
he's
reset.
feeling it.
The bomb doesn't even hurt him, and now another handshake showing us how it's done indeed. Weibo rolling over AL.
That is the XiaoHao that I like to see. The player from anyone's legend of last year. How did we forget to talk about that? XiaoHao felt like he was such a star on this roster. Now brought to the edge on that one. Feels like he has been, you know, a little bit quiet at some points, but plays like that remind you why we have such a high value of this player, despite the fact that he's not really had the biggest moments in this year. It starts off with great ult from Crisp. He gets jumps on. We talked about how squishy the Renata can be, but this is the value it has. When it goes to the AD carries, you can start them auto attacking onto their team and CC them up for absolutely forever. And the resets come through. We've already seen Viego enough today to know what happens when those resets happen.
Yeah, we certainly have great handshake. XiaoHao just also over the wall. I'm surprised he didn't go for the twisted advance, to be honest, but either way, gets the kill. Doesn't really matter how it happens. The Kraken Slayer build coming through here once again. I'd say I feel like, generally speaking, this is entirely anecdotal. Hery all out on the top side onto ZDZ. Is he going to keep looking for this one? 1v1 on the cards, but backs away in the end. Backs forward again, backs away, backs forward. The noodle fight continues up top. There's Drake taken on the bottom side by Weibo. Are we going to get a fight here? AL
yes, we are. Xiaohu.
Big damage on Xiaohu. Bailout is there, but they don't have the damage. And the shockwave fizzles as well. Crisp next target. He walks away though.
Well, first we saw the Shirelli's Nico, now we see the flanking Orianna. Xiaohu in a really awkward spot. He tried to hide out of vision and get himself a shockwave, but the Maokai ult ends up sensing him. And even though Weibo get that get the dragon and get that objective for themselves, anyone's legend gets some more gold in pocket and giving killed participation to the likes of Shanks on the Tristana. I mean, we saw what Xiaohu could do on this pick a little earlier in the day. Dangerous stuff.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like at this point, rumors of Xiaohu's being back have been greatly exaggerated. Here we go.
He's back, but only for game 1.
Yeah, apparently so. Xiaohu just caught out in the brush. Good ult coming out from the Maokai to start it all off.
And that's why we were waiting for Kael to hit level 6. He hits it, changes the game completely. This ultimate is absolutely insane at being able to start fights on your own terms without necessarily even throwing your bodies into the fray. So we have ourselves even game yet again. 4 kills to 3, very even in terms of gold. We've talked about some worries coming through from gold onto the likes of Shanks, but then XiaoHao, he's got himself to Kraken Slayer. He'll be able to zero out one of these AD carries. Well, the carries, the Yordle carries. If they are out of position, we nearly need to see Hope get involved. He's on your screen just there. Hasn't got himself to Seraphs just yet. Once he gets up to something like a Horizon Focus as a second item, or even stuff like the Death Cap later into the game as well, he will be an absolutely insane damage source, but he's not there yet.
He certainly isn't. The Zig's one of these characters as well that it's not just about items either, it's also about levels. Like, being able to max the Q is a huge moment in the Zig's build path, but also getting level 11, the second level of the ult, massively increases the damage that it's going to be able to do, and helps you play around the map a little bit better as well. We'll see what Hope can get done on this pick, and also how practiced he is on this pick, because team fighting on Ziggs, very different beast to team fighting on your normal AD carries. XiaoHao spotted by the sweeper here. They're just going to start onto Croco. Look at that damage that XiaoHao is doing.
Oh,
Croco's
wow.
just getting rinsed here. The bomb on top of his head, looking for the reset. The bailout's there as well. Reset finally comes through. Xiaohu still alive here as Kael suddenly the target for the TP comes on through from Hery. He's in the midst of everyone, but he's just not got enough damage to do anything. Shanks hiding under the tower, but the Herald is going to be placed to tank the tower. Handshake into the team as Hery left alone here. And Crisp, I'm not sure he even meant to click that one, to be honest, but he takes down the tower, and now they're looking for more as well. All out from Hery, but the shield comes through. As now the Herald going to go for a second charge at this point. Hery can't defend this on his own. And with 4 players here, maybe that... Wait, what? He manages to get a kill onto Crisp here. Tower shot to Xiaohu, who's completely out of mana. ZDZ knocks back into the fray. Kael
the teleport!
And now there's a TP coming in from Hope as well. He's behind enemy lines, and Xiaohu rooted up and taken down. Kael gets the kill, and in the meantime, Shanks is looking for more as well. This game is absolute chaos from start to end all across the map. Hope will be finally sweeping up some kills on the top side. 7-6, abject chaos in the LPL.
It starts with XiaoHao getting away with such a low amount of HP, and when you see the resets come through, I think you'd think that Weibo should be winning that fight, but the fight is so messy and split that it has another couple of twists, with teleports coming into play as well. The actual end story of that, I'm not even sure who that even favors. We're going to have to watch this again and try and patch up a couple of these pieces. XiaoHao finds out Croco. Croco is really not going to be tanky versus XiaoHao, even with the Crescent Guard. Inside that, Shanks tries to buy some space, but the damage is already done, the resets come through, and he gets himself the soul, which allows him to keep on fighting, which is so important. He went down to about 100 HP, and even though the reset value of the heal from Viego has been nerfed over time, it's enough to see them through this fight. Funny thing here is actually the knockup from the Herald as well. You even puts Hery into an awkward position, but with the tower gone, I think this is the overstay at this point. You've lasted pretty long into this fight. You don't necessarily have all the cooldowns that you want to, and this kind of opens up AL to just... Yeah, that's a bit of an issue because you don't really have any of the cooldowns to save you at that point. And once you start losing members like this, the teleport makes things just infinitely weirder.
Weibo just... the play was there on the silver platter and really overstaying for that one. Crisp just walking forwards and taking the tower shot for really not a whole lot of reason. AL starting the Drake off here. ZDZ's in the area for Weibo, but the rest of the team trying to play towards this top lane tower here. They're wanting a tier 2, and I think it's a trade they're quite happy to make for Weibo. You got the first 2 towers of the game. So yeah, all right, trading 1 Drake for a tier 2, getting a bit more gold into Xiaohu's pocket, who's actually started with their Luden's companion tonight. I feel like we rarely see in the LPL.
Well, we rarely see it anywhere because the major items aren't great, honestly. A lot of them really struggle to give you a lot of value. We see a lot of Seraphs because it feels like it's the one which allows you some defensive utility, and then you kind of scale up into your second or third items. So it's quite telling that someone like a poke mage like Ziggs has gone Seraphs. When we see Hui, most of the time it's the Seraphs as well, and then you build up towards a Horizon Focus to pick up some of the damage slack. But with that Luden's first item looking to be that stopwatch as well, I mean the Seeker's Arm Guard, which effectively is a stopwatch, Xiaohu will have a good 1-item spike if he hits squishies. If he hits one of these frontliners, it isn't going to have that much value. It might have to then be the big team fighting ult, which gets onto the backline somehow, some way.
XiaoHao here in the bottom side of his Weibo. They've changed strategy. They started this game off stacking up Drakes looking for grubs, and now using those grubs to play. They play for the top tier 2 tower, now playing for this bot tier 1 tower as well. The whole team kind of shadowing the area as Xiaohu gets on and hits the objective. Just want to point out as well, it is the on-hit Varus that we're seeing here. I feel like a lot of viewers will have already clocked that, but just wanted to acknowledge it here on the cast. There will be a way to deal with the tanks that are coming through, this Maokai and the Cassante up in the top side as well.
There was some question of whether it be the poke Varus, because you're against the Ziggs and sometimes you want to match poke for poke, but actually go for the on-hit gives you some access to lifesteal to shrug that off. That could potentially be very important. Plus you need to kill those front lines as well. Shanks going to be the beneficiary of that bot lane tower take. He'll get himself up to his second item very shortly as well. In fact, he might get the Navori on this back as the Kael in inventory too. If Shanks can have those resets as well, he can reposition in this fight in a way that, of course, we saw the Viego and the Tristana both have, I believe, in... was that game 1? Yes, because it was Xiaohu's Tristana as well. God, it all blends into one somehow, but it's this messy. We have resets on both sides. That's actually very important to note. If Shanks can get off some really good damage, maybe that could be one of the ways that AL can combat these first kills.
Hery's in a little bit of deep water here. Perhaps a creative all-out could find him safety. Ghost's going to be procced here, trying to dodge some of the abilities coming on through. He is pretty tanky, and he will just sprint out of the top side of the plate in the end. So he'll survive. It will be a tier 2 taken on the bottom side of the map, though. So Weibo find themselves an objective here. In the meantime, Baron has been started. Too many players on the bottom side of the map. Xiaohu has TP available. He's going to reset and move up to this play, but it's a TP from Hery to get into the pit here. 6k on the Baron as XiaoHao
the Malcolm to tonight.
Near. And look at those roots straight onto the enemy jungler. Baron taken. AL punishing Weibo's greed for the bottom tower. They've maybe found the Cassante, but the all out actually going to pull up safety, and the blast cone gets him out as well. AL pull it off.
Hery survives long enough in bot side for AL to survive, and then it looks like he's just overstayed. Can he make it out of this one?
Man, Hery, you got out of that one. You know, you'd got away, you got that for free. I don't know why you just walked back into all 5 of them. That was a bit of a fumble. But ultimately, they still get the Baron.
And he was the hero of that play. He bought the shockwave in bot side. He bought time for the Baron to start. Without the shockwave, it was kind of hard for Weibo to get some of that first damage in the team fights. He's going to now be denied that Baron buff. I feel like AL, they'll still be able to get good wave push across the map. It's not really going to deny them the full Baron push, but it's a little bit of an oopsie because Hery would have loved to have that in one of these side lanes to open up the map even more for AL and to bring them potentially into a gold advantage. It's just a little bit behind right now.
Just a bit. I mean, it's literally 400 between the two teams right now as Croco are looking for this red buff. And to be honest, my eyes are on XiaoHao this game. He's got the Viego. He's going for this carry build as well with Kraken Slayer. And he's had a good game so far. Caught out on the wrong side of the map that time, but realistically, that's a whole team call from Weibo. And a great, honestly, just a great response from AL as well. Punishing that misposition on the map, punishing the greed for these towers. And now what can AL do with the Baron? They've got 1,000 gold lead from it to start with, which is technically negative because this includes the 300 gold you get per player when you first take it down. So that's 1,500. So anything less than 1,500 means it was fundamentally a negative play.
Well, I mean, they still have the money in pockets. That's okay. They've now gone into a reset, which means that the waves have been really well dealt with by Weibo. Dragon is spawning, which means that's where AL's attention is. It means that they're unlikely to be able to even break this inner ring of turrets. You can see that ZDZ, Xiaohu, they've been picking off these sidelines. Now, ZDZ might have stepped too far, but I think he'll just about be safe. He is Udyr, after all. He'll run out of most plays. AL not realistically going to be able to use this Baron. They have to fight for this Dragon instead.
That's a big fat wave crashing into the tier 2 in the bottom side as well behind AL. ZDZ can look for a flank here. Dragon is just going to be taken down. Very, very fast Dragon take here from AL. And sure, you got on the flank, but who cares? Bomb flies on in. They found Xiaohu. He's forced to flash, and everybody dives on top. But look at the combo coming on through. They trade kills for now. Resets galore available for XiaoHao, but actually forced away. And it's Croco that's looking for the kills instead. Hery forces a flash as well out of light. And AL, I don't know how they keep pulling this off.
Well, what happened there was Croco primed his third auto knockup on the Dragon and then immediately flashed onto Xiaohu. The unexpected knockup. Sometimes it takes Shinzao a little while to go towards that, but that's an important kill. Maybe they can go push in with the double demolitions and do some tower damage.
This is their opportunity to shred these objectives, and they get a bonus kill on top of it as well. ZDZ overstepping and taken down immediately. Tier 2 in the mid lane, taken. AL, not going to greed for this one, going to reset.
I can't believe it's happening to Weibo again. What a fantastic game one from them. And even though AL only get themselves the 1,000 gold power play, and as you said, it's actually kind of negative if you count out the actual Baron gold itself, they're in a good position in this game 3. Croco straight onto Xiaohu with that flash E. Fantastic play from him to force out the Zhonya's and force the rest of the team to retreat. They can't stand on the Zhonya's body of Orianna. They have to back off, which means that only Xiaohu dies for free. And to that point, we already talked about resets from that Tristana being a problem, and they really can't retreat without that threat of the shockwave and the ball keeping them safe.
He certainly can't. ZDZ just respawning onto the map now. Xiaohu trying to clear vision and set up for potentially another Baron in a couple of minutes' time. And this is a weird one because we've got Shanks with a bounty in the mid lane. I'm going to hold that thought. Xiaohu's caught. The shockwave comes in, but that just ain't enough. Xiaohu not having a good day after game number 1. His first game was so good as well. It's so disappointing.
Yeah. That death there, reminiscent of how he was dying an awful lot in the OMG series as well. Caught out in side lanes, trying to fix waves, but not really being respectful. Xiaohu is a player which we have an awful lot of great memories of his play. Honestly, this year has just not been adding to them. He has had some real stinkers. And he had no flash, no Zhonya's, no way out of that one. It leaves his team into a really awkward spot. Whenever you lose someone against this team, you can't defend these turrets, and they immediately explode. Look how quickly that goes down. Only the 2 Void Grub buffs. It's not like that's going to be a huge difference maker. AL still making the big use of it, though, and Weibo starting to really fall apart as soon as someone gets caught.
Yeah, really nice stuff from AL. Great capitalization on that pick. And in the meantime, ZDZ tries to answer on the bottom side, but Hery's able to get down there. One thing I do want to note, Hery, no TP available, and ZDZ does have that up. Baron's up in 45 seconds, so Hery realistically cannot stick around on this bot side for too long with the Baron spawning.
Yeah, it's a decent point. Question is, can you really get onto that Baron quickly enough?
Well,
and
yeah, I suppose
the problem is, the other side of it as well, is that even if you could get onto it, one team has a Maokai and a Ziggs while you're pinned on the Baron, the other one doesn't. So even though you could throw the Renata ult towards the Baron, which is pretty threatening, I don't think Weibo can realistically go towards this. And there's a really difficult situation for them now where even if they want to head towards that side of the map, they have to walk through Nature's Grasp and see how that works for them. They'd really like to have a secondary angle, but they don't have the top lane or mid lane push. They don't have wards to go towards. It is a very difficult decision. They see nothing important on the map right now, and the observers are highlighting that. They have 1 ward on Baron, importantly so. It doesn't actually see the Baron itself, though, is that they don't necessarily see it started.
Chris trying to start the fight there, but Hope gets away with his own flash, and now suddenly onto the front line. Hostile takeover. Will buy a little bit of time, but that is really all it will get. That's going to be Chris, flash, ultimate on cooldown now, and AL can just rinse and repeat. They can just reset and go for this again. TP available for Hope, so he can go for that reset and still join the play.
Looks like Weibo, they want to just maybe brute force mid and try and get that wave in. They can't really approach this. This is so dangerous to them. That Renata ult, it felt like that was the tool to go forwards. Now they are waiting for just some big mistake from AL. Very difficult for them.
ZDZ pushing forwards, vision of the Baron. XiaoHao is on the scene this time. It would be 50-50 if AL commit to this one. XiaoHao trying to move into
they're flipping it.
Oh, we're actually just going to flip this, aren't we? 3K on the Baron right now. 2,500 as they look for the 50-50. Croco, how good is your finger? Can you get the smite on down? No. XiaoHao grabs it in the end. He's pulled over the wall, take down. It's 2 kills for 1. It's a Baron, though, for Weibo.
It's the shockwave used to secure the Baron, but they lose 2, and that's going to be a big problem. They get themselves the big objective. They're probably losing Dragon. I don't know, man. AL, they probably shouldn't have flipped out. They should have looked towards that fight. Really quite disrespectful of them. It gives maybe a reprieve to Weibo as they can push out these side lanes. Clutch steal from Xiaohu to combo up and to steal that one, but they are still losing objectives all the same.
Yeah. I fear my call was anticlimactic on that one, but at the same time, I feel like this fight is anticlimactic in that I'm not sure what Weibo really achieved, aside from just denying the Baron, but his team can still siege. Just disappointed to see a flip from AL, honestly.
I have to say what really confused me is that there was a kill coming down at the exact same time that the Baron goes down as well. As you can see that Croco dies. Oh, well, not quite, but there was, yeah, they had a couple of just messy things going about the place. That it meant it was really quite difficult to see what was secured. As it stands, it's now going to be AL walking out with a numbers advantage, and Weibo are the ones with the chance at the Baron. Not really sure what they can do about it. It's really quite hard for them to push up without the threat being engaged onto, but the likes of that Kael to the Zigzag on top of it.
Something we've got to mention as well is Shanks getting 2 kills in that fight. He's now 4 items on the Tristana. This is a late game crit AD carry. And Weibo are going to find that out the hard way. And realistically, ZDZ, yes, he's got Thornmail. I mean, he's got 3 armor items if you include the boots, but Shanks doesn't care. He's still going to shred through that, and apparently Hope has come online as well.
He's got the Crypt Bloom, and he's got the Seraphs for a little bit of stacked cooldown reduction. It's quite hard to get high cooldown reduction right now, but he's got enough of it as it stands. Hope, if you can land that damage onto the correct targets, that will be a huge moment for them. You can see that light on this Varus, though. The bonus you have is the on-hit Varus compared to the Pope is that you actually get a lot of defensive resists. Now, he might even be going towards the Jack Show as that 4th item with the Chain Vest and Inventory. Could, yeah, I mean, it could be something towards that to give him even more defense against potentially a big burst combo that would land his way.
Looking into the fight here are AL. Shanks charging forwards with a GA on his head. He is the carry right now, and they know it. Charging forwards underneath the towers. That
Shanks?
GA might just need to be used, but no. Hops back out to safety. Wriggle's got his back.
I think it's pretty lucky there that AL aren't taking that fight while Light was in any position to respond. I feel like with the items he had and with the overs push from AL, that could have gone very, very badly beyond the first pick onto Chris, but they do get the kill. And as we said just a few minutes before, once you give up even just a single kill versus the composition, it feels like the entire tower goes when the AL composition pulls in towards it as well. We got that bot lane in a turret. Now no tower stands outside of the base from Weibo, but importantly the base still stands. It starts with ZDZ walking up, trying to get some kind of battle ward vision into the enemy jungle. But it's so hard for him to push up. We said that, hey, it's going to be quite hard to use this Baron buff because of the Kael, which is the Zigzag on top of it. Great combo, despite the fact that the Shockwave gets some decent value beyond that point. You can see how difficult it is for Weibo to actually claim space on the map.
Nearly getting caught out by Light there. And he was just coaching stab.
Yeah, same, buddy.
Close
Same.
to cardiac arrest. Shanks TPing. No, denied. Shockwave. And the GA now on cooldown. Look at the rest of the minimap, though. As
They're pushing the base.
Charge into the base. Shanks flashes over to look for Crisp instead. He's ignited. Oh, denied. The ignite. The tick stops it. As Crisp, he actually goes down. The bailout wasn't in time. Or in fact, it was in time, but the kill was too early, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Inhib goes down. This is bizarre.
Yeah, we're getting to the point where it's a little bit all over the place in terms of macro. It's quite hard to figure out what you're doing in late game sometimes, but Shanks completely oversteps on the top side, did not have the best vision for it, despite the fact that they have a ward on one side of the Hex gates to try and stop anyone going in towards them. He sees the rotation up towards him, but he's not in any position to really make his way out of that. His whole team on the other side of the map, it's too late on the teleport. It's a really good punish. As we were just talking about how actually it's been Xiaohu a lot of the time caught out in these positions. Shanks is the one that really ends up getting punished this time. He at least takes one down with him, but one kill is not equal to the other. That Tristana is so important for anyone's legend.
That said, though, 3 members commit to the top side for Weibo. It's an inhib taken for AL. I feel like this is exactly the same as the Baron that was taken at 20 minutes, where Weibo committed so many players to the bottom lane. AL immediately snapped decision, take the Baron, and that's where this big advantage came from for AL. Speaking of, though, the advantage isn't actually that big anymore. 2,000 gold is the lead in their favor. Yes, they control a lot of the map. Yes, they've got an inhib down, but this extra Drake could be the difference maker for them. It would be Hex Soul if they can finish that off. Just think about the Hope damage that will come out from Hope with a Hex Soul.
Also, you get some attack speed and cooldown reduction from those dragons as well. All very important to the majority of this team. They're just good stats in general. Shanks, no GA now. XiaoHao, maybe another tight target for him to get a reset onto. Doesn't have to wait for the death a second time. How important could he be to try and claim a victory against his old team, the team which he honestly carried by the scruff of the neck for most of his time on that roster. He's on the dragon now, trying to deny that soul.
5k on it. It's maybe going to be a 50-50. No, great ult coming out from Crisp to deny the opportunity, but ZDC will go down for his trouble, and Crisp will follow too. They got the Drake, they denied the soul, but they don't get a soul of their own, and they lose 2 players. It's 50-second death timers. This is an opportunity for AL to potentially end the game.
They do have the shockwave, and there's no Baron buff the side of AL.
The top
They're
side.
they're teleporting towards top side because there's a wave there. I don't think they can end the game. I think a shockwave would be able to clear most of the minions. We'll have to see how much damage Xiaohu can do to the actual super minions, because that's what you need to kill. You need to stop tower aggro going over too easily.
They've taken the inhibs. They might actually be able to end the game because Xiaohu's getting shot out by Hope. And now the dive shockwave only onto Croco. It's 1 kill though. Is it enough? The tower's about to explode as Shanks still survives.
You can't do it!
Backwards, and XiaoHao's taken down by his old squad. Denied by his brothers. Light charges forward. Desperate to carry the game, but Hery is jumping onto the enemy mid laner. Xiaohu taken down by the Cassante. Not the first, and he won't be the last. As Hery charges forward, Shanks and Hope still alive here as they're trying to get onto the Nexus. The front to back is working out, and AL, they find themselves favor once more, a 6th win in the LPL.
Weibo find themselves at 4-4 despite winning 7 out of their 8 game 1s in LPL Spring 2024. Had a little look at how they were doing this time last year at the start of this series and said, hey, well, you know, maybe let's not make too many judgments too early. But I think there are some real alarm sirens on right now. AL on the other side, though, what a split they are having currently. Has it been the cleanest? No. This week in particular has given us a lot of concerns after they lost to EDG. Taking a win versus Weibo can hopefully right the ship a little more.
And I just want to say as well that AL, at the start of the series, 8th place in the standings. But after this series, they've moved their way into top 6 at 6-3. And the game difference slightly behind FPX, so don't quite contest that 5th place spot, but my goodness, fantastic